Welcome to the podcast, where great minds meet. We're so glad you're listening. Where Great Minds Meet brings together visionary guests, from Chancellor Gary May and Dr. Robert Langer to Greg Zuckerman of the Wall Street Journal and Forbes 30 Under 30's Kyle Wum, to share insights on science, leadership, and purpose. Featuring pioneers like His Excellency Sidney Colley and Dr. Emery N. Brown, each episode dives into stories of resilience, discovery, and impact, celebrating the intersections of curiosity and greatness across diverse fields. Thanks
Take the
for
lead.
listening.
And then theatrically, you've had a whole other evolution in that the pandemic and streaming platforms really disrupted
Mhm.
the theatrical experience.
Okay.
And we were very fortunate earlier this year to put a film into theaters through Lionsgate and Kingdom Story Company called Unsung Hero, which I co-directed, and I played our dad in the film. And it was by the grace of God, again, it was the #2 movie in America when it released, which is just fascinating. And then, as you mentioned, this Christmas, we're going back into theaters a second time with A Drummer Boy Christmas, the live, the Drummer Boy Christmas Live, the cinematic concert experience. And basically what we did, David, is we took the film crew from Unsung Hero, the movie, and we put them in the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas, last Christmas with 12,000 people. And we captured this live show up close and personal. We had an Emmy award-winning sound mixer work on it. And it's just beautiful. I mean, my wife watched it and said, I think this is better than your live shows themselves. Because in this experience, you're seeing it from so many different angles. And you're so in it sonically, visually. And so I think part of the reason we felt it was so important to put this into cinemas, not on a streaming platform or straight to television, is because you want to use the theatrical experience for the screen and the darkness and the sound and really it's the most immersive visual experience you can have. So thanks to Fathom, December 5th through 9th, and potentially even beyond, because it's being received so well. We will be in 1,500 plus theaters in America, and it will be within driving distance of every American in the country. And in Canada and in the UK and in Australia and in New Zealand. So we're sending the Christmas story out to the world.
Oh wow, man. This is
In
good.
2024.
This is good, man. Repeat the sounding joy. So the quality of sound engineering can make or break a musical performance. Can you discuss any challenges you've had in that area and triumphs in creating and producing live and recorded performances? So you mentioned
Yeah.
you had
Yeah.
an Emmy Award winning sound engineer. So what were some of the challenges you faced and how did you overcome them?
Yeah. Well, again, I keep saying by the grace of God, but I really feel that way.
Yeah, definitely.
Because of the digital revolution,
Mhm.
these soundboards, David, that we use for the live shows, they can also multi-track. So we have about 100 inputs between every drum and every instrument and every vocal mic and crowd mic, about 100 channels in the show. And every single night, Ralph Rivera, who's our front of house engineer, he multi-tracks every single show. So it was actually pretty beautiful when Ainsley Grosser, who's a Grammy award-winning musical mixer, and then Matt Waters, who's an Emmy award-winning movie mixer, and they sort of mixed it together. When they got the files, they had everything they needed because they had multiple shows with every microphone. I think they had 8 or 10 crowd mics set up every night to capture the experience. So it all starts with the first visual and audio capture. And then we took that to Ainsley Grosser, who again is a Grammy award-winning musical mixer. And he mixed them for streaming platforms. And then we took those to Matthew Waters in Los Angeles, who did Only Murders in the Building and Moonlight and all these other films. We took it to him and he mixed it for 5.1 in Atmos and just made it an immersive experience. So there was
People involved.
a lot of people involved and a lot of steps to navigate, you know.
Okay, okay.
We went out to the Sony lot in Los Angeles and brought Ainsley out as well, and we just sat in this beautiful theater for 4 days and had fun.
Okay, so yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. So my story, my question to you now is, you've been successful, and I think it's hard to dispute that or debate that. So I would like to hear your story of what really contributed to your trajectory to success now, and how do you stay successful? How do you maintain the resilience that you have? Of course, faith plays into that, and you can feel free to talk about that if you would like. But I'm curious to know, like, because there are other people in the music arena, there are other people who
Yeah.
are pursuing Christian music or faith or hope or inspirational music. How are you able to be successful and maintain it, and also maintain your wellness?
Mm. Well, it's the age-old question, right?
Uh,
Um, I think the moment you think you've got the answers, the moment you actually don't.
okay, okay,
You
okay.
know, I will say there are some key components to health. So we'll start with health and move into how
Yeah.
to sustain success. Because I think, as we know in the human experience, if you do not have emotional, relational, spiritual, physical health,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot have a successful, thriving career in anything. So,
Human
you know,
flourishing.
yeah, right. And so I'm very fortunate to continue to collaborate with a lot of my family members and that has been not always the case, but that's been really beautiful because we've built trust over these years. We've fought for
Trust.
each other.
Yeah, trust.
Trust is massive. My wife and I are partners. We partner on, she's really my family. We partner on everything, and she understands me. And by the way, David, we've been through highs and lows together, her and me, and so we know, you know,
Highs
how
and
to
lows. Yep.
how to
In the
pick
rhythms of
people.
grace.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I think the simple daily acts of, be it, I take you won't be able to see it because you're listening to the podcast for many of you, but I'll show David. I take a plethora of supplements every day, from cod oil to magnesium to AG1, just for physical stamina. One thing that LeBron James said when he was asked about uh, how to sustain. He's like, hey, sleep, sleep, sleep. You
Yeah.
must sleep.
Yeah.
This is where your body rejuvenates, restores. This is where your mind orders your thoughts.
Mm.
So sleep is a massive deal. And then spiritually, it's really important to take a bit of time. I try every day to take, at least, 20 minutes just to, like, call it meditation, call it prayer, call it contemplation. It's probably a bit of all of it, just to be still and read something that is inspirational, either biblically or from a great mind.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I'll just say, as far as personal health, counsel, wise counsel is
Okay.
so,
Important.
not just counsel, but wise, wise counsel. And then if you follow the domino effects through, into sustained success, a lot of it sort of works itself out. If you've got, as the saying goes, art imitates life.
Uh-huh.
So if your life is in chaos, your art will be in chaos. But if your life is in some sort of order, your art will be in some sort of order. So it does all. There's obviously a whole other conversation about how to sustain artistry. But I love that you started with the personal side, because without that, you have no art in the end.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, so this was very good, and I don't want to take too much of your time. So I appreciate you speaking with me today. And once again, this is where great minds meet. And I want all of my listeners to check out a Drummer Boy Christmas Live by King and Country. So Joel, oh man, I don't know what to say. I'm almost lost for
Mhm.
words. I appreciate you speaking with me today. This is a highlight for this podcast and a highlight for my day. So grace to you and
Love
good
it.
luck with your work.
David Ferguson, bless you, man. Great to chat with you. And we'll do it again and we'll see you in the cinemas this Christmas. All
Oh
right.
yeah, definitely. Take care.
Thanks
See
for
you, man.
listening to the
Yeah.
podcast, Where Great Minds Meet. We're so glad you're listening. Where Great Minds Meet brings together visionary guests, from Chancellor Gary May and Dr. Robert Langer to Greg Zuckerman of the Wall Street Journal and Forbes 30 Under 30's Kyle Wum, to share insights on science, leadership, and purpose. Featuring pioneers like His Excellency Sidney Colley and Dr. Emery N. Brown, each episode dives into stories of resilience, discovery, and impact, celebrating the intersections of curiosity and greatness across diverse fields. Thanks for listening. Please note the views of this podcast reflect those of my guests and I. Also, please consult the relevant state and board-certified professionals for advice or consultation. Once again, thanks again for listening.